Hey, everybody. I'm here with Andrew Just, the founder and CEO of Train Fitness. Thanks for joining us, Andrew.
Thanks, man. Pleasure to be here.
Tell me a little bit about Train Fitness and what do you guys do?
Yeah, so we have built and patented technology that does automatic exercise tracking using the motion of an Apple Watch. And so primarily focused on gym or strength workouts, but we're the first app that's been able to detect everything from your push-ups to your lat raises, bicep curls, bench press, you name it, automatically just based off of the motion of your watch. There's no video, no manual input required.
Oh, that's awesome. So, what? Tell me about the founding story of the company. Why did you decide to start the company?
Yeah, so I was a cardio junkie growing up. Raced triathlon semi-competitively, I've run a bunch of marathons, huge cyclist, and throughout that journey, I've just been very focused on the data behind sport. How can I wear, more heart rate monitors, track power when I'm cycling, gait when I'm running? I was like deep, deep in the numbers, just using data to try to become a better athlete. And when I went to university or college, I started lifting weights and was just super disappointed or dismayed to realize that all the tech and the gadgets and the numbers I learned to love on the cardio side, it just didn't exist in the strength or anaerobic space. And the reason for that ultimately was when you're doing a sport that involves moving from point A to point B, such as swimming, cycling, or running, we use GPS amongst other tools, but primarily GPS to track those activities. And GPS does a fantastic job of tracking your pace, your elevation, your distance, your time, whatever it might be. Problem is when you're moving within a confined space, such as lifting weights or yoga or Pilates or any of these other activities, GPS falls apart. It doesn't often work indoors and it's not nearly accurate enough to be able to track individual exercises. And so I decided I wanted to try and solve that. I tried doing what most people do using the manual workout apps that exist out there. I tried using Google Sheets and pen and paper, and the manual tracking experience just frankly sucked. And so ultimately, I did what most people do and just stopped tracking altogether for a while. And then I decided, hey, I want to try and solve this. And so there's really two ways that you can track an anaerobic activity. You can use computer vision or cameras, or you can use wearables. I didn't like the experience with filming myself. I was never going to bring a camera and tripod to my commercial gym to try and film myself just to track my reps. And so settled on wearables pretty quickly.
That's very cool. Yeah, I've done a lot of strength training, and one of the things that I like about it is being able to see progression. But like you said, it's kind of you have to do a bunch of manual data entry to kind of see it, which sucks. Can you tell
Definitely.
me? So on your website, you mentioned that the current app that you guys have is like the first one. Can you talk to me kind of about the bigger vision of the company, where you guys want to go in the next few years?
Yeah, definitely. So a couple different spaces that we're super excited about. Right off the bat, I would say so we are purely a strength app today. We track workouts in a gym, and even within that category, we're specifically focused on what I would call like your generic weightlifter. And so we focus on, if you were to go to a crunch fitness or a 24-hour fitness, the types of workouts that you would do there. We want to expand into more broadly the anaerobic space. And so that would include things like yoga, Pilates, martial arts, maybe even starting to look at things like basketball, racket sports, as well as what I'll call like peripheral weightlifting as well. So that would be things like hit workouts, CrossFit, Olympic lifting, things like that. That's probably more on the next like 1 to 2 year roadmap. Something that we're focusing on right now that I'm super excited about that I can only share a little bit about this right now, but one of the things that's super unique about what we're doing is not only are we counting your reps, but we're actually tracking very granular data on a rep by rep basis. So this is things like acceleration, velocity, range of motion, time under tension, displacement, power, you name it. And when you can see that level of granular data on every single rep, you get a very, very clear picture of how that person's actually performing. When you then take that and combine it with the advancements that we're seeing today in LLMs and just general AI from a generative perspective, it creates this kind of like perfect storm and perfect like market timing opportunity to create what we believe will be the first digital and AI powered personal trainer that can actually track what you're doing and help you succeed. And so something we're focusing on now is what would that coaching aspect look like? How can we bring an AI based personal trainer to life using effectively just the motion of your Apple Watch and artificial intelligence?
I saw you've been working on the company for a few years, probably predating the generative AI changes the boom that's happened. How else is the product changing because of that?
Yeah, it's a great question. Yeah, so when we started in 2020, and so this is well before ChatGPT was ever released. AI obviously existed, but and even today, the primary field of AI that we're using is not generative AI. We're doing time series based classification, so more of what you'd expect with like image detection or video detection, that type of classification style of AI. And so our focus from the start has always been detecting and classifying exercises. Since the kind of what I'll call like chat GPT boom and now like AI and generative AI is now the hot thing that everyone loves to talk about. I think it's really just accelerated the timeline of how quickly we think we can truly disrupt personal training. It was always something that was kind of on our roadmap, but my view was to actually be able to build a product that was truly better than the human personal trainer and coming in at a fraction of the cost. Our belief is we can build a trainer for probably about 1/20th of what a human personal trainer costs and offer that to the market. My view is that was probably like 5 years out. And now we're far more aggressive with that timeline. We think it's about 10 to 12 months out.
Very cool. Can you talk to me a little bit about how the business is doing now? Are you guys in pre-product market fit, have product market fit, and scaling? And then beyond that, what's the bull case for the company over the next few years?
Yeah, totally. So yeah, I can share a little bit about our numbers right now. So we have over 20,000 users logging workouts each week on our app today. We've got a 4.8 rating on the Apple App Store, and those metrics around our users, paid users, and growth are continuing to accelerate. So that's super, super exciting. If you break it down, product market fit is such a it's one of those things where I think, you've got the goalpost and you hit it, and then there's,
Sure.
the goalpost
Always
keeps
change.
moving as you keep, you stay ambitious. We're getting incredible feedback from our users. And so what I would say is we have a paid version of our app right now. We've got over 5,000 people subscribed to that. That's growing at 15% month over month. So from a kind of if I was to take a step back, I think if we're not at product market fit, we will be there in the next 3 to 6 months for sure. Feedback's been very, very strong from users. In terms of what the next 12 months looks like, I think for us, it's two things. It's one, really nailing the workout logging experience. And so our watch app today, it tracks your workouts and it does what I'd like to think of as a good job of doing this. We've kind of taken a step back from that and said, okay, what does the, not a good experience look like, but what does the perfect, like what does the epitome of the perfect workout experience look like when you now have automatic tracking with anaerobic exercises? And so we're taking our learnings from the last 2 years from a UI or UX perspective, as well as our advancements in the tracking and machine learning capabilities, really trying to bring those together to understand what does this perfect experience look like. And so we're rebuilding our watch app from the ground up, taking these learnings and trying to improve there. And then of course we'll be focusing on this personal trainer, AI coach or agent as well.
How do you think about your place in the market in general? Like, why are you guys going to win? Why can't someone come behind you and try to copy what you guys are doing?
Yeah, so there's a few questions. So there's a question of like, can someone copy our automatic tracking? And I think founders love to say, oh no, we filed patents and we've done all this stuff. Frankly, I think that's excuse my French, but a load of crap. I don't believe that what we've built is something that nobody could copy. Do I think it would be incredibly hard? Yes. Like we've had over 4 years of PhDs and engineers working meticulously to build this auto tracking. Do I think it's impossible for someone to copy us? No. Like, let's be realistic. Nothing is. With enough money or resources, someone would be. But my view is I do think we have a pretty significant head start, at least 3 years over someone if they were to start today. And so I think the auto tracking technology that we have gives us a tremendous leg up there. And then as we start looking at where we're going to expand into the kind of just more broadly the workout app experience and the coaching experience, I always say that in order to truly provide feedback for someone while they're working out, you need to know what they're doing. You imagine if you had a personal trainer who was blindfolded and was trying to coach someone, there's just no way that they would be able to do that. And we today are the only app that's actually tracking on a rep by rep basis this level of data and able to see how someone's actually performing in the marketplace. And so when you think of, okay, what does it look like for this AI personal trainer, the future there, there's thousands of fitness apps out there, like which one's going to win in that space? Well, my answer to that is just simply it's going to be the company that is able to truly track every single thing that a person's doing to be able to provide real time and real feedback for that user.
That's awesome. So, when you talk to people, how do you pitch Train Fitness? Why is Train Fitness a great place to work?
Yeah, so in terms of why I think it's an awesome place to work, there's a few things that come up play here. Number one is if you're interested in fitness, sports, and technology, having a spot where you can kind of bridge both of those things. I think if I look at our team, it truly is a team that is incredibly passionate about, you know, cutting edge technology, but then are also sports enthusiasts, fitness enthusiasts, be able to bridge those things and work on products that you can build during the day and test at night and you truly are excited about, I think is something pretty special. Another thing that I often quote is just the speed that we build and the pace that we operate at. We are the type of company that is, we're shipping releases often multiple times per week. We're pushing out PRs or pull requests, often dozens a day. And so we truly are kind of operating at that high speed, startup velocity. And that's super, super exciting because it's not uncommon to come in the morning, have a feature request come across your desk, build it during the day, test it, deploy it, and then by your 6 p.m. workout or 7 p.m. workout, you're in the gym testing that exact feature. And so the level of impact that each individual engineer, each individual person is going to have on the team is just, in my opinion, far greater than you would ever have at a larger company.
Paint me the picture of what the company looks like right now. How many people work? Where do you guys work? How do you guys work?
Yeah, so we're split between three locations now: Toronto, New York City, and in India. And so we have two engineers in India. We've got three employees in Toronto right now, and we've got three employees in New York right now, but we are hiring pretty aggressively as well. So I expect those numbers to increase. Yeah, so I would say like on a typical day, we are for the most part like an in-person team. So we've got a small office in New York and in Toronto, and there's no hard requirements on being in, but I would say most people are in 5 days a week. Just at the pace that we're operating at, it's super nice to be able to tap someone on the shoulder and get their support, and be able to build from there. But we're definitely a very young, hardworking, but energetic team.
Talk to me a little bit about the culture. When I looked at your site and I saw a few of the values, one of the things I like to ask is, what's the most important one? There's a lot. If you had to get rid of all of them, what would be kind of the most important value that you guys have?
Yeah, so in terms of our culture, the thing that I look for the most in team members is probably just having this like ownership mindset. And so my view is every single person that we work with, we are very careful when growing our team to ensure that people coming on have this true 100% owner mindset. And so to talk a little bit more about that, we're not a culture of just pushing Jira tickets through and checking things off boxes. Every single designer, engineer, business analyst, whatever it is, my expectation is that people are thinking outside the box, seeing around corners. And in order to do that, you have to have this owner mindset. That doesn't mean you need to use the app 7 days a week and be a power lifter, but it probably does mean you need to be excited about the product. You need to be eager to talk to customers, to understand feedback. You need to be eager to make recommendations for features or help identify and solve bugs, and really just taking this, what does it mean to be a true owner of this product and to want to see it succeed, as badly as a founder or CEO would as well.
One of the things that I liked on your site was that you mentioned that you want people to have an ownership mindset, but you were gonna, the effort and the cash, the compensation and stuff would kind of reflect that. Can you talk to me a little bit more on how you think about that?
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, I think from a cash perspective, both in all three markets that we are in, I would say we are probably in the top, definitely the top quartile to the top decile in terms of cash compensation. And then from an equity perspective, I think we're definitely in the top decile as well. I have a very strong perspective on just culture where we have a very small team. And I like to think of our team as just very, very capable individuals. And when we bring everyone together, that kind of magnifies. And so, rather than having 16 or 17 people, my goal is to actually try and keep the team as small as possible, but with just high, high, high performing individuals. And so, one of my views is even post Series A and approaching the Series B, I anticipate the team will stay well below 20 people. I don't think that growing numbers or headcount is necessarily a good thing. I think you can find high quality people that are driven by a very strong mission. And if we have less people, then we can afford to compensate a little bit better as well.
Can you talk to me about that philosophy? Like, why stay small?
Yeah, so it's interesting. So I have a thesis, and I don't know if it'll be us that'll crack it, but my view is that you can build, especially with the advancements in AI, that you can build a multi-billion dollar enterprise or company with less than 20 people. And so, if you rewind 5 years ago, you would kind of talk about what's the revenue per employee or revenue per head count. And in order to hit $1 billion, you'd be looking at hundreds, if not thousands of employees. And I just think in today's day and age, that's not the right way to think about it. It's rather, how can you find the right engineers and the right designers and the right, individuals, put them in the right spots, empower them to solve at scale. And what that often looks like is, maybe to give you a bit of an anecdote, is we receive a pretty large volume of requests from customer support. And so rather than hiring a customer support agent, I am still the only, well, not the only person, but I handle the bulk of customer support. And my view is that if that starts to become overwhelming for me, we shouldn't reach out to try and hire a customer support agent. We should engineer a solution or solve bugs or fix things that are driving support to be able to mitigate the amount of inbounds. And so I'm a huge believer of that. I think with AI and some of the new advancements that have come out today, you can scale solutions that'll allow you to keep your employee count very low, but very, very, very impactful.
Awesome. One of the things that I saw also with the culture was a lot of the values were performance minded. Does that come from you? And beyond that, like, how does the team feel now that you've kind of held that performance standard across the team?
Yeah, so I think I definitely hold a very high bar. I think in terms of when I think of what each individual should be striving towards, for me, it's not good enough just to be able to, if we as a team set a goal and you're able to hit that, that's fantastic. I kind of view that as you're performing well. In order to perform, excellent, what I'm really looking for is the type of individuals that are actually going to set their own goal and then not only succeed it but surpass it. And so I think from a performance mindset, it's really about finding what goals you want to go after. And of course, we're going to align as a team. And so maybe you'll come to me and say, I want to do X, Y, and Z, and this is why I think we can hit this, and this is that goal. We'll discuss as a team. But my view is Train Fitness should be and is comprised of people that are going to set those own goals and then go after them and hopefully exceed them as well.
Makes sense. I also saw you have the strong opinions weekly held philosophy. Can you walk me through what that like looks like in practice?
Yeah, totally. So I come from a consulting background. And so in consulting and in a lot of big companies, what you look for is conformance and alignment. And let's get everyone to align. I hate that. I do not want people that are looking to align. I want people that are going to have very, very bold, strong opinions, because I think when you have everyone align, you build products that are aligned with everyone and end up kind of falling short and being mediocre. And so I really look for people that have incredibly strong, bold opinions that often differ from the status quo. That's super, super important. However, what is also very important is to be weakly held to those opinions. And so to answer your question, what that might look like in practice, if I take like an engineering lens to this, I love it when engineers come and have radical opinions and will push back and say, I disagree with this, or I think this is wrong, or whatever. And I will always entertain those and make sure that we have, the right avenue or space to be able to field those kind of opinions or questions or whatever they might be. Having said that, and this is very true of myself as well, is you have to be weakly held to those, because at the end of the day, especially when you start having radical opinions from different people, you kind of create these different spikes. And what we don't want to do is try and merge all the spikes or flatten them all down to the same level. We're not looking for the median. We're looking for one spike that we like the best. And often what that means is the other seven spikes get crushed or don't get chosen. And so in order for this kind of philosophy to succeed, you have to have radical opinions, but you have to be very, very comfortable with, having your opinion not be chosen and moving a different direction.
How do you choose the opinion though? Is it data, evidence, gut?
Yeah, so I mean, I would say I would love to be able to sit here and say, we analyze and back everything with a ton of data. Often it is a lot of just gut or trusting people that are more experienced. And so I'm a software developer myself, but there's absolutely developers on our team that are far more technically experienced than I am, and frankly, I think are just smarter people than I am. And so with that true, I have no problem saying, hey, my gut is going this way, but this person who I think is a lot smarter than me is saying this, and so I'm willing to trust that person.
So we talked a little bit about this, but I'd love to get a sense from you when you think about selecting talent. What are the one or two top things that you're looking for?
Yeah, so when selecting talent, so we talked a little bit about that owner mindset. I think that's super important. One of the things that I really look for in candidates is I want to see people that have relentlessly pursued something in their life to excellence. And so they don't need to have succeeded. And it definitely, and in fact, often it should not be work related. But I'm looking for people who have shown signs of just working far harder than anyone else in their life to achieve some sort of goal. And so to give you some examples, often that can transcend through having, maybe a prestigious institution, whether that's university or whether it's, a culinary institute, whatever. Often it is a prestigious institution, or it can be, because that usually shows hard work getting there, but it doesn't have to be. And so if you are a exceptional artist or photographer and that is your passion, but you're not just like a casual, hey, I paint, once a month, but you are like, I've dedicated a huge portion of my life to be the best that I can possibly be in that. That's something I really, really look for. It could be through athletics. You might have been on a D1 team while you're at school, or maybe you've run a bunch of marathons and have, an impressive time, or, maybe you are a fantastic chef, whatever it could be. What I'm looking for is signs that you have not settled for mediocrity in your life and you found something that you are excited and passionate about, and you've poured your soul and your entire self into that, because that shows grit, determination, it shows talent, and it shows that you are not willing to accept mediocre as an option, and you've committed yourself to excellence.
Why is that super important to you and how the company operates?
Because I think building a startup is really, really hard. And I think that the amount of effort and time and passion and hard work and intelligence that it takes to build a successful startup is often very difficult. And I don't want, or maybe to paraphrase or to rephrase, I don't think if working at Train, if it is the first thing you've done that is truly very hard, I don't think you will succeed. And so I'm looking for people that have faced really hard challenges before, and they understand what it feels like to persevere, to do something when everyone's telling you that you're going to fail, or to, fail again and again and keep getting back up. I don't want Train to be the first time that someone goes through that, because I think that would be a very challenging spot to be in.
So, how do you figure this out? Is this something you can see on a resume? Do you build your interview process to dive into this?
Yeah, so I mean, maybe a little hint on our interviews is I my interview process focuses very deeply on talking about past experiences that are usually not related to work. So I love asking questions about what is the hardest thing that you've ever done in your life? What is your biggest failure? What are you most proud of? What are you exceptional at? These are all questions that I will ask, that or can ask, to really try and understand where has someone poured their entire heart and effort into a specific domain.
How do you also think about skill level at the skill of the job they're doing? Like, if you had to make a trade off, where does that trade off go? Is it the much better at the skill level, or much better at the grit piece?
Yeah, so I think it I hate saying it depends, but I would say, if we come back to my initial philosophy of a very small team of highly high performing individuals, my view is, in order to perform at a high level, you do need to have both. You need to have the technical domain, absolutely, and then you do need to have this kind of grit, or this passion that you're able to kind of commit yourself. If you ask me that where the trade-off lies, I would tend to skew more towards the passion side. My
Makes
view
sense.
is, if you asked me to hire an engineer that was maybe intermediate and we're looking more for an advanced, but this individual has done something in their life that's exemplified that they just will not take no for an answer and will continue focusing on something until they succeed, I would hire that person over someone that's super technical but maybe a bit more lackadaisical in their nature.
Makes sense. Can you give me a brief overview of the rest of the interview process?
Yeah, so our interview process is super straightforward. Like all things startup, we are very efficient and fast with our process, and so Typically, there's an initial call with myself or maybe one of our senior engineers or whomever from the team. From there, we do a first round interview that's technical. Sometimes there's a second round interview, depending on a second round technical interview, depending on the seniority of the role. And then there's a final round interview in person with myself. Each interview is no more than 60 to 75 minutes. We keep the process super efficient. Usually there's about 3 to 5 days between each of the interviews. And so end to end, once we've kind of selected a candidate for an interview, you can expect less than 2 weeks the process is done. We try to use less than 5 hours of your time. And then we usually get back to candidates with an answer within 24 hours. So we like to kind of claim 2 weeks total, end to end, 5 hours of your time. And that's the max that we'll use. I'm also conscious that for a lot of individuals, if you're working full time or if you are the type of person that is pursuing excellence in some other domain, you probably don't have a ton of time. And so we try to be fair to that as well.
Awesome. So we talked a little bit about this as well, but what are you most excited about over the next 12 months in terms of what you guys are building, what you guys are working on, or just opportunities in general at the company?
Yeah, so I would say what I'm the most excited about is being able to kind of coming back to this AI personal trainer or an agent. When I look at strength training, I found so much just gratification and success in my life using strength training as an outlet. And I'm so very passionate about it. And I want to share that with the world. The problem with strength training is it does require very specific skills for someone to succeed in. And so, let's say you have a friend that is trying to get in shape. If they're looking to run, I'm gonna, oversimplify this a bit, but if you give them a pair of running shoes and just say, "Hey, start running," as long as they're taking steps, like yes, there's injuries and things, but like as long as they're running and putting themselves out there, they're probably gonna make some progress. That's not true of strength training. You can't just give someone a pair of running shoes and be like, "Here's a gym membership, have fun." And so it requires this specialized domain. And the problem is if you don't have that experience or knowledge, it costs thousands and thousands of dollars to have a personal trainer to teach you that. And in my view, is that can all go away with AI. And so with just an Apple Watch and an AI coach, you can take someone that has never lifted a weight in their life and progress them through a strength training platform. And so to be able to share that with the world is something that I'm super excited about and something that we're looking to build out in the next 12 months.
Awesome. Last question. Any hot takes, contrarian takes about building a company, being a founder, hiring, or anything that you have?
Hot takes on general startup life. Yeah, maybe one that I'll say that probably is a bit of a hot take, but I do like to be upfront about is I don't think that having I don't want to say balance because that's maybe a bit strong, but my view is that in order to build something that is very, very successful, it takes an incredible amount of work. And someone that is striving to have this kind of like big tech, you know, cushy or comfortable work-life balance, I will straight up say we're probably not the right fit for you. And so my view is we're trying to build something that's incredibly, incredibly hard with a team size that is, a quarter of the size of what or a team that might be suited to build something like this is. So my view is it takes an incredible amount of dedication and passion, and that's not for everybody. And I totally recognize that, and I wouldn't expect it to be. But for those people who are just like deeply, deeply passionate about building something that doesn't exist and building something that they themselves would use, then I think it's an incredible place to work.
And what's the upside? Like, I want to work incredibly hard. I want to put all my all. I want to do all of this. What am I getting in return from you guys?
Yeah, so I think that's a great question. So I think number one, coming back to the compensation, like I do think we compensate above market, both on equity and cash, and so there's that. But what I found is the people that are motivated by these rules, compensation is not the first thing on their list that they're looking for. And so my view is like I fundamentally believe that we are building a product that is a paradigm shift, a 10x step up from what exists today. And so if you truly are passionate about building something that your friends and you and the world is going to use, there are thousands of fitness apps. If you Google fitness or search fitness app on the App Store, there are quite literally thousands in every color and flavor. And so of course, you could work for any of them or any other company, and so that's fair. What we are trying to do is fundamentally build a technology that does not exist today, bring that to market, and change the way that billions of people are able to track how they move. And that I think is a pretty unique opportunity that not everyone would get an opportunity to be a part of.
That's awesome. Well, I'm definitely going to download the app after this call. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us. If people want to learn more about Train Fitness, where should they go?
Yeah, for sure. So please check out either our website or our Wellfound page. We post all of our offerings and information on the site as well as open rules there. So definitely check us out online.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks, Mitt.